Yes, this is Peter Christian Hessing again, talking about feeding the world and supporting all of our farmers and ranchers out here. We have a lot of them in here in America. We have the most powerful economy. These are some of the tomatoes we grow out here. And I'm out in Arizona. I have a farm myself. And we have to really support them, farmers here in America and Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica. We work with the co-ops in Jamaica. We have had potato farmers, we had fishermen, we had coconut growers, we had all the yams and banana growers and vegetable growers with tomatoes here, you know. We got people who grow oranges, grapefruits, all the citrus plants that give us vitamins. God created all of these for us here. These beautiful tomatoes here. So we need to support all of the people growing food to feed the world. In Africa there is all the lettuce, beautiful lettuce that God has given us. So no one in the world should be hungry. You see, 1 billion people go to bed hungry every day. But the truth is that every human being is hungry in the space of half an hour or an hour. Every human being is hungry. So we need to make sure that everybody, whether they're in Africa or in Israel or Gaza or Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Syria, we hope we can end the wars here. People in Mexico, in Jamaica, in Somalia, in Zimbabwe, all these countries, Nigeria, Liberia, Kenya. No one in the world should be starving. We have people here in America, in Appalachia, in the ghettos in the South Bronx. We have to get fresh foods to the people here in America and make sure that no one in America should be hungry or starving. We have to support the food stamp programs here, but we must support our farmers and our ranchers, and we have the small farmers around the world that farm, support our future farmers of America. We have 4-H clubs, we have all the different farm programs around the world. People in India and China, where you have 2-3 billion people, they grow rice to feed the world. But these are all the great products that God gives us. So we can live in peace. We shouldn't be fighting. I mean, there's no need for people to have terrorism, and we have all these terrorist groups riding as Al-Qaeda and ISIS, but nobody should be fighting wars at all. And we have technology now to end the wars and end poverty in the world. To end wars and terrorism, we're going to have to end poverty in the world. And we can do that very easily. We can have our World Banks or IMF or central banks. Every country has a central bank that circulates money. They have trillions of dollars where they can circulate. The World Bank and the IMF and the Federal Reserve and all these central banks that have trillions of dollars must not only support governments, but they must have individual programs that give money to the 8 billion people in the world and the 4 billion people in the world. They have to change the strategy of trickle-down economics and end poverty so we can end the terrorism in Syria, in Afghanistan, Iraq, in Africa, and stop poverty. When you stop poverty, you will definitely stop terrorism and stop these wars. But we have to say to the gun manufacturers now that they have the technology now to control all the weapons and ammunition. They can put phones and they can put beepers and they can put cameras and recorders into weapons. There's so much technology out there that they can put into guns and high-pack ammunition magazines and the missiles to stop and control these weapons. The only way you're going to stop terrorism is to have gun control and arms control in the Middle East. And that is what we now have to get our governments to do. And this is the only way we're going to have peace. The Republicans have to accept the fact that there must be some gun control if you're going to stop terrorism. You must have some gun control. Once these terrorists realize that, and the drug cartels realize that we now can control these weapons and they don't have this unlimited supply of weapons. If they're able to buy weapons, an unlimited supply, you're going to have the terrorist groups. You're going to have Al-Qaeda and you're going to have Hezbollah, you're going to have ISIS, all these groups you're going to have. So you have to have arms control. We have to somehow try to shut down the weapons in supplying to the Middle East, the weapons going to these countries, enemies. You must have some kind of control there, you see. So this is the time to really, God has given us all this abundance. We have technology to instantly end poverty. We can have computers that can calculate billions a second. We don't have 8 billion people in the world. We can create businesses for every person in the world. They can have a business. The World Bank and the IMF and all these banks, Bank of America, Chase Manhattan, Federal Reserve, every country has a bank. And they can invest if they built a website where every person had a business was selling a product and give them business licenses or temporary business licenses or temporary incorporations. One of the problems with starting a business that you need to incorporate. Incorporations might be thousands of dollars. So the government must create a way where you get temporary incorporations for businesses where business can incorporate, and we need to have 4 or 5 billion businesses for all the poor peoples in the world. We shouldn't have people sleeping out on the street in homelessness in Washington, D.C., New York, in Los Angeles, in Miami, in Tucson, in Phoenix. People have no place to sleep. We must have these banks and the Federal Reserve invest money into individual business. They must have money for the 4 billion people in the world and the 50 million people here in America. There must be an account and there must be a website that has businesses for all the 50 million poor people in America and the 5 billion poor people around the world. This is something that we must get the World Bank and the central banks and the Federal Reserve, all the central banks to do. And as I said, we must support our farmers. I do farm here. I'll show you one of my prizes I won. I support the county. This is one of our first prizes that we won. County for growing our melons. So as I support the farmers here in America and around the world, in Africa and Jamaica, I want to support the corps. I used to work with the corps in Jamaica and in Africa. So this is the time that God wants us to know to end poverty. No child should be hungry and have nothing to, not able to go to school. And this is the time for us to end poverty in the world and make peace, regardless of our religion, whether we're Muslims or Hindus or Christians or Jews or Arabs or Shiites or Sunnis. We all have to come together as brothers and sisters and make peace in the world and stop this fighting. But we have to end poverty and end wars and stop this terrorism around the world. All the presidents and the prime ministers and the kings and queens and the ambassadors and secretaries have to get together and say this is the time we got to end poverty, stop these wars, and take care of all the people in the world. I believe we have phones. We have 6 billion phones. We can stop every disease. Ebola. We can track and stop every disease. We have phones that we can reach around the world in seconds. So we can track every disease in Africa, and we can stop every disease in Africa, and create help farmers around the world. We have phones that reach around the world in seconds. We can call in around the world in seconds, so we can track every disease and wipe out every disease in Africa. We have the power now. It's time for presidents and the government, people demand that our banks don't waste the money and in poverty. God created us to live in peace. He gave us an abundance of all these foods here. Tomatoes, we have here oranges and grapefruits, and all this food for us to eat. It's time to in the world and have peace for every human being in the world. This is a Peter Christian Hessing for ending poverty in the world. Give your hearts and life to Jesus. Jesus, he spent most of the time healing people and healing diseases. We have Ebola and cancer, and we can have 24/7 health care for every human being, and everybody can have enough money. All the children, everybody. Thank God, God bless. Give your hearts and life to Jesus. Peace and love.